Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the ABM All By Myself podcast. This is episode 7. This is actually the first Sunday we're doing this. Like I said yesterday, I initially was going to take the weekends off, but my mom kept asking me if I was going to upload on Saturdays and Sundays, so you know I had to do it. And it seems as though the response has been great, so thank you guys so much. I did get a lot of comments yesterday with words of the day. I asked you guys to give me those so I can use them in a podcast. However, it was kind of a lazy day, guys, and I took a mid-afternoon nap. It was unexpected, but I did not have time to research the words. So in this episode, we're going to go ahead and answer some questions. But first, I just want to make sure you know to like, subscribe, comment on this video. It means the world to me, as always. And let's just dive right in. I got really sad news before I started the podcast, or I didn't get the news. However, I was informed via an Instagram post that Suzanne Summers passed away. Rest in peace to Suzanne Summers. She passed away at the age of 76. If you don't know who Suzanne Summers is, it's okay. Let me inform you. She was on the show Three's Company way back in the day. This was probably in the 70s with the gentleman John Ritter, who also unfortunately has passed. Not today, but a while back. So rest in peace to John Ritter. But a classic comedy. And then Suzanne went on to be the head person or the head spokeslady for Thigh Master. So there's a lot of people out there that had their thighs blasted in shape in the 80s and 90s thanks to Suzanne Summers. If you were alive at those times, and you were walking down the street and you were impressed by somebody's thighs, Suzanne is more than likely the culprit in which you would think for seeing that. And then where I know her best from and where I have the most nostalgia is going to be Step by Step, Day by Day. If you've ever seen it, you know what that is. If not, I just sounded like I was trying to sing. But Step by Step was a television show with Patrick Duffy. I don't know much about the gentleman, but he was a husband to Suzanne Summers. They were both single before meeting. They had 3 children each, or maybe 2. Maybe one of them had 2, but it was very Brady Bunch-esque. And there was a neighbor who was a real goofball that was like a cool skater guy. I forgot his name, but it was a rad show, and it was in the TGIF lineup. And TGIF, for those of you that don't know, on Friday nights, ABC used to have a block of 4 television shows from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. So there would be 4 30-minute shows, and it was once a week. And it was shows like Family Matters, Full House, Step by Step, Hanging with Mr. Cooper. And I can't remember. I think Home Improvement might have been in the lineup at one time. But it was something that every Friday, everybody I knew would stay at home from 8 to 10. You'd be excited about watching these shows. Oh, I'm sorry. Boy Meets World was one of them, which is probably one of my favorites. But you would watch these shows, be with your family, be with your siblings, whoever you watch TV with, and it was a moment. And that's a real nostalgic for me because I feel like that's something in this day and age with streaming services. I don't think most people even have cable at their house. But, I don't think there'll ever be another generation that gets to experience something quite like TGIF. So just to talk a little bit about it, my favorite TGIF show of all times was Boy Meets World. This is about Corey and Topanga, who are neighbors, and they fall in love over the course of their lifetime. Corey has an older brother and a friend named Sean who gets him into shenanigans. Sean is from the other side of the tracks, so, he's a little bit of a loose cannon. Corey is a nerd that is probably a straight-A student. There's also a gentleman named Minkus. Minkus, actually, there was a conspiracy at one point that Minkus is Chanel West Coast. If you ever watched Fantasy Factory, Rob Dyrdek's show, there's a lady named Chanel West Coast. She's also a rapper and all kinds of other stuff. But if you look at them side by side, it looks like Minkus grew up, had a gender reassignment, or he went to he wanted to be a female, and he became Chanel West Coast. So cool little thing. You could look it up, if you really want to. But that's what I got. So Suzanne Summers, rest in peace. TGIF was rad. If you didn't get to experience it, go on YouTube. Look up like old TGIF shows, old TGIF commercials. And if you haven't got it yet, it means thank God it's Friday. Or at least that's the consensus, right? I don't know really what it meant, but thank God it's Friday, which is another term that I haven't heard very often. TGIF needs to come back. So let's bring back TGIF. Unfortunately, we can't bring back Suzanne Summers, but her legacy will live on. There's still thighs all over the planet that are sculpted because of her, and the world is a better, leaner, more in shape, and more walking able because of her. So that was just a little piece. Let's get into questions. So the first question I got is from Phoenix24, and Phoenix24 would like to know, what is my favorite gadget? So I'm not really much of a gadget type of individual. I do like to fidget with things, and I've always had a interest in like small items. Like when I was younger, micro machines were a huge thing, where they were like tiny cars that were the size of your fingernail damn near. But I was so impressed by the amount of detail they were able to get into these little die cast machines that I would collect them. And I liked the fact that I could have like 100 of them, if not thousands of them, within one shoebox, and I could have all these worlds at my fingertips. I mean, they were making like helicopters, landing pads, airplanes. So if you haven't checked out Micro Machines, make sure to go check out Micro Machines. Pretty much like Hot Wheels, only a shrunken down version. Very cool. When I was younger, I also would collect Pez dispensers. I still have them. Unfortunately, they ended up not being worth any money. I always thought, man, at one day in life, I'll be able to retire off of these Pez dispensers. Sadly, did not happen. I also would use this time to recommend a great documentary called The King of Pez, I believe it is named. But it's about a gentleman who tried to overtake the Pez empire and failed miserably. And that's how I felt, collecting them as a child and then growing up to have them be worth nothing. Another thing I collected, and I'm answering a question that doesn't exist, but you asked me what my favorite gadget is, and I'm thinking about gadgets or little things that throughout my lifetime I've enjoyed. And the last would be lighters. And this was before I even really needed a flame in my life. But as a young kid, I was just enthralled by lighters. I had ones that looked like cell phones. I had ones that were like a credit card that somehow produced flames. And then for a period of my life, I was going to Knott's Berry Farm like damn near every day to hang out. And maybe we'll get into Knott's Berry Farm talk in another episode. But they had a machine there, or like a game where you could win Zippos. And I used to go there, and for 25 cents, you could win a Zippo. I'm sure I spent dollars and dollars to get one, but I won a few of them there. And one of them happens to be worth about $100, guys. So if all goes well, Zippos continue rising in price. Within the next 30 to 40, maybe 100 years, I could have a Zippo that's worth $150 to $200. So I'm stoked. For all that I lost in Pez collecting, I definitely gained with Zippos. Next question. My favorite Munchie creation, and this is from Olympus C, spelled C-E-E. My favorite Munchie creation. As of right now, if I get like a heavy case of the Munchies, I'm just eating whatever the fuck is in the house. I'm going to be real with you. We don't necessarily stock up on a bunch of like snacks and treats and things of that nature, primarily because if I get the Munchies, I'll eat them all. But as of right now, like the weirdest thing that I've eaten lately was we have deep fried onion bits that you would put on like yams, or you would add to a dish. But I'm going to admit, I ate them like potato chips for a few minutes, and then I had that realization of, what the hell am I doing with my life right now, eating fried onion bits like potato chips? When I was younger, my staple go-to, what I would make anytime I was hungry, was a cheese grilled sandwich. Before you get all upset, you get riled up at me. I know they're called grilled cheese. I don't give a fuck. I call them cheese grills. Even to the point where people would, in my yearbooks, write things like, it's called a grilled cheese. I'm still calling it a cheese grill. So if you put that in my yearbook thinking this is going to sway anything, denied. They're cheese grills to me still. But I would get real creative with cheese grills. You know, I would put eggs on top of them after I was done. I would even make the egg in the grease that acquired from making the cheese grill in the skillet. That was like one of the things I would do. So I'd get a cheese grill, put cheese in it. I would put ham in it, and then I would put a egg on top of it. That was a pretty nice creation when I was younger. And eggs were pretty prevalent. You know, we always had eggs, pasta, cheese, and bread. So if you have eggs, pasta, cheese, and bread, you're eating a whole lot of noodles with egg on it, or you're eating cheese grills with egg on it. Things that I've made recently, I got really into eating mushrooms at one point, and I was trying all kinds of different ways to eat mushrooms, and it's kind of making my stomach curdle a little bit. But the latest one, and this was probably a few years back at this point, but I was putting mushrooms in the air fryer, and then I was getting them nice and crisp and using barbecue sauce as a dip. And just right now as I'm saying this, I could feel my stomach bubbling. You know, there's certain things that only taste good when you're so hungry. You would eat mushrooms with barbecue sauce, and mushrooms with barbecue sauce just might be the archetype for that. Next question. My favorite color, and this is by Virgo Babe, I'm sorry. My favorite color and why. My favorite color is probably blue. And why? Because it's easily accessible. Anytime during the day, you can most likely see blue in the sky. I have blue eyes, although my eyes are like a blue-green combination. So if I look at the sun long enough, they kind of lighten up. If I'm inside for long enough, they kind of darken up. But blue is just a serene, peaceful, amazing color that brings me joy. I couldn't tell you much else why I like it so much, but even right now as I'm in the house looking at stuff, you know, the aquatic frog food I have has a blue top on it. The water conditioner for my aquarium tank has a blue top on it. And the ocean, if you look up and down, or if you're far up and look down on it, it looks blue. Blue is just fucking rad. We can't get away from it, so why not just submit to it? Next question. It's mala gente, I believe, or mala gente, because it's Gente, and I don't know if that's gente or gente, but no matter what, you're asking me what my favorite dream is. My apologies about the coffles. I don't necessarily have a dream I can remember being my favorite, but I will say that my favorite aspect of dreaming is when you're able to lucid dream, and you're able, and what that means, and I know we talked about this on Shane's podcast, it just means that you're aware that you're dreaming. And once you become aware in a dream that you are dreaming, you run the whole planet. You are the president, the king, the ruler. You could do whatever you want. Your fist could become fireballs. You just think everything you want into existence. It's the best psychedelic trip of your life. And I just like flying when I'm in those dreams. You know, I'll run, I'll jump, and I'll fly. For a while, I was getting really into trying to become like proficient at lucid dreaming. And they also call this astral projecting, where you can actually leave your body, in a mid-sleep state. But it's pretty cool. All you got to do is there's a bunch of videos on YouTube. I recommend trying it out. It's like meditation for astral projection, and you just lay on your back, you meditate so your whole body's relaxed. And then what's supposed to happen is in between your eyes are supposed to start twitching a little bit. And that's your pineal gland, or your third eye as they call it. And you'll start to feel that twitching and vibrating. And then if you're able to succumb fully to the moment, you will leave your body. You will be able to walk through walls and do whatever the hell you want. You could be the fly on the wall that you always wanted to be. But my favorite dream, I don't know, but my favorite part is flying. I wish I could fly in real life. And the last question, actually, no, that's going to be it. I got one more, but guys, this is a Sunday episode, the first one ever. I appreciate all of you. We got 10 seconds left. I am going to use all those words of the day in tomorrow's episode, so bear with me there and have a great one. God bless.